Hi and welcome to the 10th lesson in the family topic. This lesson we're going to be looking at feminist theories of conjugal roles, and we're going to be using this to compare with what we did previous lesson, looking at functionalism and Marxism. So again, as with all the other lessons, feel free to work through at your own pace, pause and let me know if you have any issues. So for your starter, I have created a paragraph. All you've got to do is spot the mistakes within this paragraph. So it might be mistakes with the content of what is written, or it might be mistakes with grammatical or spelling errors. So see if you can work them out. Again, feel free to pause the video. So there were 5 errors, although I'm sure you might be able to spot others. So there you go. And as a secondary recap, have a look at the pictures. Which ones would you associate with which theory? So would you associate any of them with functionalism, with Marxism, with feminism? And why? So a lot of this lesson is going to focus on obviously the work of different feminists. One of the key feminists we're going to look at is Anne Oakley. So she did research in the 1970s. And she interviewed 40 married women and asked them questions about housework. So she found that a lot of them were obviously 70% were dissatisfied. They didn't really have much interaction with others. They had a lot of autonomy, so they were kind of their own bosses to a certain extent. Housework was the most disliked aspect. They spent about 77 hours on average as part of that housewife duty. 15% of husbands had a high level of participation. 25% helped with childcare. So what I would suggest in your own words is try to summarise what is Anne Oakley saying. What is she trying to get across? And bear in mind the date. So do you think if she did this study today, would she still find a similar kind of research? So modern day roles, obviously, things have moved forward. So research in 2012 found that 1 in 10 married men do equal amounts of cleaning and washing, and they found that almost half of women are still doing 13 hours or more per week. So yes, things have moved forward, but women still seem to be doing the majority. Women are, responsible for the housework and still doing paid work as well. What sociologists would call this is the dual burden. So think of dual being 2 things. So yes, we're still fulfilling that kind of traditional housewife job, but also doing paid work as well. So there has been an increase in the amount of stay-at-home dads. This is tenfold compared to like 10 years previously. However, obviously this is a minor kind of role in comparison to the amount of stay-at-home mothers there are. 9.2% of working women are stay-at-home. Oh, okay. So yeah, we've got 9.2% of stay-at-home mums today compared to like 15.9% in 1993. So again, that number is decreasing. And what I'd like you to think about, and there is a video, so if you did want to watch any of the video links in the PowerPoint, if you go to the video in the shared area, you're then able to kind of click on the hyperlinks. So why do you think there aren't more men who are house husbands? What kind of pressures might there be for men not to be house husbands? So key people, we've got Delphi and Leonard. They talked about the argument that men benefit the most really from, women, and the current system really does suit men much better. So men still dominate in the family. If you think about everything that we did when we talked about power structures, men generally make the more important decisions in the families, and women have this kind of paid employment, but they still have to do all the household tasks. So think back to kind of the stuff about dual burden. And again, feel free to kind of find the hyperlinks if you want to. This then filters into something called the triple shift. So this was created by 2 sociologists called Duncombe and Marsden, and they basically suggested that women, do the dual burden, but also do this emotional role as well. So whether it's looking after the children, elderly parents, your partner, and this equals 3 different distinctive roles that women have to do, and they call this the triple shift. So if you think, list everything a working mum might have to actually do in a day. And then think about which ones would be emotional, which ones would be paid labour, and which ones would be kind of the housework side of things. Which do you think takes a lot of the time? So, for instance, if I was thinking about my personal day, it might be, yes, I spend quite a lot of time at work, and I may do work outside school, but then there is also the emotional labour of maybe looking after my child, listening to my husband and about his day at work. Maybe he needs to unload about that. Then it might be thinking about dinner, doing all those kind of housework tasks that still need to be done as well. So think about what does take up a lot of time. So some key points of evaluation then for feminists is that functionalists would basically say that feminists are putting too much pressure on this kind of negative side of the family and ignoring the fact that actually some women might enjoy running the household, running the home, raising children and being married, fulfilling that kind of gender stereotypical role. And also, feminists downplay a lot of what Young and Wilmot talked about with this idea of a symmetrical family. Yes, there might be that women are still doing quite a lot, but there is a shift towards greater equality than there ever has been, and actually, more about sharing roles. So you might want to try and put this into a kind of simpler terms for your work. So I've got 2 questions for you to have a go at to see whether, you've understood what this lesson was about. So, could you give 3 reasons for the continuing inequality between men and women? Why are things not equal still? And using one example, could you briefly explain how family life might disadvantage women's careers? So how could that impact on women's careers? So thank you for listening. Let me know if you have any issues or queries. And thank you very much. Bye.